Hi folks, how you all doing? Today we're going to be looking at rescuing an image. Sometimes we all start off and we do a sketch and the sketch isn't looking so great at first, and we decide in the first few minutes, is it time to pack it in and start again, or do we just plow on and see if we can save that image? Now sometimes we know that in the first couple of minutes, like I say, or we know that after the first 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Sometimes you put a good couple of hours in before you even know. But regardless, there's often a point, whether it's a rough sketch or whether it's a commission piece, final, it could be even a few days, who knows. But how long is it before you know whether a piece is worth carrying on with or not, or whether you have to do the piece? Is there a cut-off point? And are you the kind of person who just gives up, moves on, deletes it? Or are you the kind of person who just says, right, I have to rescue this? Now, personally, I hate walking away from anything. Now, right here, you can see this. I've already put in a fair few minutes. This is sped up, obviously, speeded up, sped up, and it's not so bad, but it does get to a point and I'm like, no, the anatomy of the face isn't what it needs to be. And I think I know some artists personally who would instantly scrap it and start again. And I do that myself with some pieces, but this is my daily sketch. And I'm too stubborn for one, but I think it's good practice not to just scrap it and walk away. I think a really good challenge for any artist is to rescue your own artwork. To say, okay, what do I have to do to be able to save this piece? Because you're always going to be able to come across things in your artwork and say, right, now I need to change this up. Now I need to know what I can do to easily edit this to save the piece. Because how often have we seen something that looks absolutely great, but one eye is higher than the other, and it just puts you off the entire piece of artwork? Or, there's just something wrong, and if one thing was edited, the artwork could be great. We've all seen that 1,000 times. And it doesn't matter whether you're an amateur or a pro, we all make these simple little mistakes, and sometimes we can't see them. Many times we can. So when you're doing your daily sketch routine, these are the times to force yourself through. Don't just accept only the illustrations that work out well for you, but the illustrations that aren't going swimmingly for you. Make them work. Absolutely force them to work for you. Now, personally, I do my daily drawing a lot of the time when I've either just woken up or on a night time before I go to bed. Neither of these are the best times of day to draw, because both times you're fairly tired. A lot of the times I'm using my muscle memory to draw. But they're both good times to kind of learn new habits. Both the time when you've just gotten up and the time before you go to bed. For skill building, these times can kind of really work because you don't have a lot on your mind. You're kind of focused, you're hyper-focused on the task at hand. So skill learning and things like that can be easily achievable. You don't have a lot of distractions around you as well. So all is good there. Now, at this point, the illustration is really looking bad. I've in fact made it a lot worse, kind of on purpose here because what I want to show you. But so you can see the anatomy of the face here is, oh god, it's not looking good, is it? But what I've done here is I've made the eye and the cheek. You can see the neckline is far too thick, but we're going to rescue this. And there are ways you can do this. Now you can do this in Procreate on the iPad, which I'm in here, or you can do this in Photoshop on your PC, or whatever art program you choose to use. And I'll show you this and other tips if you want to subscribe to my channel. That would be absolutely great. But by just being able to acknowledge what you're seeing, and as an artist yourself, like I say, whether you're professional, whether you're amateur, being able to look and clearly identify and acknowledge the mistakes, the problems here, like the really harsh jawline, the bridge of her nose being too far out from her eye, the forehead, oh god, yeah, the width of her face just being hyper thick. There's just so much going on. But we can edit it, we can change it, and remember, as I've said in other videos, if you're unsure, if you're not 100% sure about your next step being correct, then use another layer. The good thing about digital art is if you're going to mess it up, then do it on another layer. Mess up on another layer. That way you can just delete the layer. You don't have to worry about having infinite undos. And that's every art application out there. Doesn't matter. They all have more layers. So already here, by adding more hair and just moving things around slightly, we're starting to rescue the image, as you can see. Now, I could run you through exactly how we're rescuing the image, and you can see it all unfolding before you. This isn't a tutorial on how to draw this one specific thing. I mean, I consider those kind of tutorials a bit pointless because you're not going to sit there and copy that one specific drawing. Personally, I really hate tutorials like that. I think they're pretty meaningless. I prefer talking about the reason why we're doing what we're doing. You know, it's all well and good teaching you how to draw an eye, but I think if you look at enough drawings of an eye, you're quickly going to work out how to draw an eye for yourself, at least if you have some modicum of artistic talent. And if you don't, well, just don't draw. You'll have another talent of all of your own. I really do believe that everybody's better than everybody else around them at something. You just got to figure out what that thing is. It could be skydiving, it could be building trains, it could be drawing, it could be raising children. But that's why you have to try everything to figure out what your skill is. I'm lucky, you know, for me it's drawing, so you know, everybody draws, so I figured out what mine was fairly early on. Now, in order to rescue a drawing, it really does come down to just trying out different things on different layers and going through it stage by stage. If you can't figure out exactly what's wrong, then find a reference image that's akin to the image you're drawing. If you are drawing from an image already and you still can't figure out what exactly is wrong, then find another reference image. So here I'm drawing a woman from the side. Now I started this without a reference image. This is just from my imagination. So I could go away, find a reference image which is similar, I think that'd be fairly easy, or at least a portrait of a female from the side. And yes, that would help me rescue this image very easily. Especially if it was a monochromatic image that was well lit. I think this is more about the lighting and the shading. I think that would help me a great deal if I went off and found a reference image like that. It's more about tonal values than it is about skin colours. It's the structure of the face more than it is about colours. Don't get distracted by colours. I think that's a very big problem that people fall into. In fact, if you're having a lot of problems with an image and correcting it, one thing you might want to do is actually turn your image into a mono image, a black and white image. That often helps people figure out what they've done wrong. Another thing you can do is, if you're using something like Photoshop, then you can just flip the image, the entire image, and look at it from a new perspective. Unfortunately, things like Procreate don't allow you to just flip an image quite so easily. Now, I've just redrawn the eye and redrawn the eye and redrawn every element until I'm kind of happy with it. The nose here, I'm super happy with now. Although it's a little short, I am happy with it. As I've said in another video, actually, funnily enough, I always tend to draw my noses a little short, but it's one of my personal foibles. I mean, you could say that's my artistic style. I personally don't, but there you go. But I'm happy with the lighting and the colouring and everything on the nose, and I really like how it looks. So I'm not going to really change that much more. Realistically, though, this face is really coming on, and I think by just persevering and moving on, I think this has really come on. Now, one of the big things I want to do here is actually address this image by adding onto it more, by creating something unique for this image. One thing I really believe in is storytelling through images. I think that's really, really important. Now, for a daily draw, for just a random sketch, it's fine. Draw whatever you want. Draw something quite, I would say, uninteresting, but just draw a random portrait as you see me doing a lot of my daily sketches. It doesn't have to have anything overly interesting about it. It doesn't have to tell a story. And just be an honest portrait or an honest illustration of somebody or an object or something. It's more about the practice of being able to technically paint and draw. However, I do love storytelling in images. If you go and have a look at my portfolio work or any of my commission pieces, you will see I will always add story elements there. So every time you look at a piece of my work, you can see something in it that you didn't see before. You can see something in there that will expand on the universe that I'm building. The world building, the characters that are in there, they will feel more developed. And every good illustration should have that. So, in this one, rather than just having this female here with her head up, I've added in this slightly darker background. Now that's good because it contrasts with the face, which is quite brightly lit, and obviously it's lit from in front of her and on this upwards angle. Now you can see I've added that in a little more in front of her now. But because I've added the darker background in, I'm actually going to take advantage of that as well. and I'm going to actually start adding in more hair into the background once I've just added in a bit more into the face as well. But add this nose a little more, I like the nose, I've said that. So I'm going to add more story elements in there, and in this it's not really a story element, it is just making the picture nice. But I just want to make it so you look at the image and feel something more about it. I can't really blag that this is a story element that I'm going to add, but in this it just gives it that little bit something. I think at this point I've rescued the image enough. It looks a lot better than it did earlier, where we had this massive horrible jawline and the neckline that didn't work. It was too far out towards the chin. The nose didn't match up with the eye. And I didn't use a reference image to save it. But I think that's the best way about going and doing that. Color values and tones are also an important way that you can rescue it. As I said, turning it into a mono image. You can also easily change it back to color afterwards by just using layers that are turned to color or multiply, and then doing an overpainting to add the color back in. But in a moment we'll add more hair onto the image as well. Just let me get the detail of this eye out of the way. There you go. So the face is looking good and I'm really happy with that. Just going to add some slight lighting on there. So yeah, overall it looks a lot better now, and I'm happy with the structure of the face. So I could leave that there and just say, that's it. Job done. Face looks good. Sketch looks good. Sign it off. Done. But this is the story element that I was kind of talking about. Like I say, it's not really a story element, but it is just that thing that says it's done. The picture is more than it originally was 2 minutes ago. So we're going to add all this wild hair just kind of going everywhere, make it look like a bit of a L'Oreal hair care advert, or whoever your favourite hair care brand is, not to show favourites. But by adding this in, it just gives us a little something else for the viewer to appreciate. And also, whatever you put in like this also shows off your skill level a bit more as well. Also tests you a little more, and that's exactly what you want. You want to show off your skills and put yourself to the test a little more. And that's all any artist can ever ask for when doing his or her daily challenge. So this is really quick, really simple, just takes a couple of minutes to add on at the end of the image once I've actually, kind of rescued the facial structure. You see how quickly I'm applying this. This is really just the main brush, different sizes to do the quick hair, and then I'm doing a darker layer over the top to just fill in the gaps, and there you go. So that's me done. I kind of like this. I think that image is completely rescued. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to click like and subscribe as well. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day.